Blog Talk Radio.
The moment has arrived. On Blog Talk Radio, now listen live. The queen is here. Pose for the cameras. Tune in. Comment now for the even more fabulous. Fabulous. You are now listening to the Mother Love Show. You are now listening to the Mother Love Show. You are now listening to the Mother Love Show. Love Show.
Hello, my cyber babies. Welcome to a fantabulous day in talk radio. I am your awesome talk show host, Mother Love, coming to you live and in living color, babies, as opposed to coming to you dead and in black and white. We got the color, we got the flavor, we got some season for you. And today, oh my goodness, I am just so honored and humbled and grateful to have this woman on the radio with us. Her name is Sharon Pearson. She is the author of this book. This is her latest tome, The Ultimate You. She's been at the forefront of coaching and personal improvement field for more than 16 years. She's helped thousands of people improve through their lives through her Global Success Institute. She has helped train over 7,000 coaches to date. She has built the Coaching Institute in one of the number one coaching schools in the world, and I got her on the phone with me. You better recognize. Welcome to the program. Okay, I'm calm. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for that welcome. That's just amazing. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Oh, my goodness. First of all, you know, we hear about coaching and, all the coaches, we hear about you all, and you got everything going on. You got it together, and you know what you're doing, and you everything is together. And you wrote a book called The Ultimate. You just ripped the whole Band-Aid off of all of it and said, no, I don't have it together. I am miserable, and I got to find out what the He-double hockeys is going on in my life. Okay, come on, Sharon. It's Mother Love. Come on, baby. What made you decide that we're going to rip this up now?
Well, I firstly don't think anyone has it together. I love the idea that there's a journey to be had to ourselves. And as long as we're acting like we've got it together, we're not really taking the journey that needs to be had. Because as long as we're acting to the world like I've got the answers and I know I'm right and I've got it together and I don't need any help, all of that going on, we are not going to be tapping into who we really are. And we're missing the whole point of life. Life is within. It's not without. It's in us. And I did not know that. So this whole journey began because I thought me knowing, me acting like I was enough, me acting like I had it together and I didn't need any help and I've got all this under control, and I acted that way for years. And then a crisis happened in my life and none of that was true, and I couldn't deny it. I was laying sobbing in the bottom of the shower, just sobbing in a pool of tears, not able to tell anybody that I was feeling distraught and lost and alone and without answers. But out in the world, I acted like I had it all together and I had all the answers, and I'm all good. And that appealed to me. And
I want to know what broke you down, because there's always that incident, and it's really not that particular incident, I think. It's like a bunch of different incidences. It's a bunch of different things we were trying to suppress and ignore and say, well, oh, no, I don't have to deal with that right now. That'll come. But then there's that, it seems like sometimes it's that one little thing, it just send you into the abyss. Then you have to start facing you. What was the thing that got you?
Firstly, I believe we'll never know what really gets us. We always think we know. So I'm going to have a go at articulating what I think got me, because I know there is unconscious layers here that I still don't know. But my best effort to answer that as truthfully as I can based on who I am today is what got me was to be publicly shamed. So there was a campaign on Facebook and social media, inverted commas, to get me, and to inverted commas, they were saying we're going to get her. And a bunch of people got together and they thought I needed to, and I quote, she's too big for her boots and someone else said she needs to be brought down a peg or two. And there was this campaign of people not liking that I was, whatever it was. I can't even speak for them, and I would never do that. That would be to be arrogant towards them. So there's this campaign, and I thought I was loving.
Okay, well, okay, wait a minute. I'm not there. So let me be the one to ask this. Do you think that it was because of your success? Because when you got haters, you got to be doing something right. You got to be on the right path. So when you got haters and they're coming at you like this, and they're thinking that you have it all together, and you're putting on the persona, I got this all together, I'm successful, I'm beautiful, I'm fabulous, I'm traveling the world, I'm training all these people, I am Sharon Pearson, you better recognize. And because you felt confident in yourself, the people feel like they want to take you down, you need to be brought down a peg. But who's to say for them what your peg should be? That's the problem I have with it, because that's other people putting a judgmental phase on you, saying, "Oh, well, she can only go this far. She can only be this successful because, in my eyes, she can't have a happy life because I say that this is as far as you get to go."
Well, I know that now, but at the time, I didn't know that hurt people. I didn't know the wounded have to wound. I didn't know that you strike out when you don't know how to look within. I didn't know that. So what was happening to me was happening to me. I didn't know it was happening to them. I just didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But it was more than that. It caused a crisis in the business. And it was really tough to deal with people phoning up saying, what's going on? Why is this being said of you? Where there's smoke, there must be fire. And people who had stood beside me for years were looking at me like they didn't know me, and they were believing these rumors and this gossip. And I was so ill-equipped for that day, so ill-equipped, that I just hurt and felt betrayed all day. So this book came about when I recognized I'm meant to be okay during this. I'm meant to know that I am enough during this. I am meant to know that their journey and their stuff is theirs, and it's not meant to be bumping up against mine. I didn't know how to do that. So the whole journey I've been through, how do I reclaim me when everybody's not agreeing with me, approving of me, or supporting me, or liking me? And I hear this everywhere I go in the world. I'd become a coach if my partner approved. I'd become a coach if my parents didn't say blah. I hear this. It's not just me. We seem to be creating a society where listening to everybody else but ourselves is approved of.
Okay, well, Sharon,
don't know how to
what happened to exactly? What happened to the sense of self-esteem? A sense of shamefulness, a sense of this is not right, this doesn't feel right. I remember being a kid, and you talk about this in the book a lot, and I love it. You talk about the big people. And back then, and the way that we were raised is the way that we were raised. I from a young girl, I knew that my mother was doing the best that she could with what she had. She was a widow at 30 years old with 6 stair-step children. The difference between the oldest one and the youngest one was 7 years. So we were all kids together. We were all teenagers together. My mother never remarried, and I watched her lose herself. And all of us, that everything was gone, not her soul, not her spirit, and she fought really hard to hold on to herself because everybody was telling her, you got to get married again. Them kids need a daddy. They got to do thus and so. And she was like, she didn't think outside the box. She didn't even have a box. So, you get what you get when you're a kid. Where is it? Because this is the one thing I was like, okay, when do people let go of the stuff that they got from people that were not equipped to give them what they might have needed when they was kids?
That's so well said. Well, we can't let go of it until we recognize it, and most people don't recognize it, and that's what woke me up. I realized I wasn't responding to the haters. I was responding to my conditioning about having haters. I was not responding to them. I was responding to me, a version of me that thought that had some truth to it. So the journey is never, how do I now handle my circumstances? It's how do I know I'm enough to handle my circumstances? So not everybody does. And one of the things you said about the book is really true. You were sharing earlier, it's dog-marked and it really resonates with you. But for some people who aren't ready to hear, it's us.
It's going to scare the bejesus out of them. Let me tell you, it's going to scare the bejesus out of them, because I was talking to one lady I recommended the book to, and she got to like maybe the third gift, and she said, I'm not going to finish reading this, Mother Love. I'm just not ready. I am not ready. She said she was not ready, and this is a woman who is my age, and she said, I am not ready. You got to be ready for this, because you got to be ready for it, and I love what you say. It's a journey. This isn't something you could just get today and, it's going to be all right tomorrow. This is an everyday, ongoing process to stay
for me,
well.
I'm in the midst of it right now. I've been on this journey for years, and I'm still in the midst of it. And I'm at the point now where I really trust that it goes on forever. When I started the journey, it was mainly hurt, and it was mainly, I've got to face that. I've got to deal with that. Can't I just kick it down the road for another 10 years? I'll get to it in my 60s. She'll be fine.
Okay.
I'll be
I'm laughing.
In my 70s.
I'm laughing, and it's an ironic laughter and it's to keep from crying, because so many people just hold on to that hurt from yesterday. They hold on to a grudge. I was talking to one of my relatives about letting go of that anger so that she could have joy in her life, and you could just see the darkness and the dullness when she's around, And I remember one day she said to me, she said, girl, I don't know what I would do if I let go of this hate. I have had it so long. I don't know what I would do. I had to leave the room, and I literally went into the bathroom and broke down and cried. Because I'm like, oh,
that's a lot.
What do you say to people like that? But how do you even get to people like that? And I see light in everybody.
So the way you get to them is the way to do it, I've found, is to point out that the perpetrator is a victim of a victim of a victim of a victim of a victim. There are no perpetrators in this tribal cycle. So who hurt me was hurt. Hurt people hurt people. Who hurt me was hurt, and then who hurt them was hurt, and who hurt them was hurt. So if we can shift from seeing the person as the person who did a bad thing against us and realize they were doing what they were taught to do, who was taught to do it, generations back, we start to see ourselves as part of a cycle, that we're just one domino in the whole circle of life. And if we don't recognize that, we will perpetuate the tribal cycle to our children. This will continue for another generation. We will treat and teach our children how we were treated and what we were taught. We model, we don't learn from hearing, we model from seeing. So if someone's holding on to hatred or resentment or hurt or anger or whatever it is, great, you're justified feeling that. What happened to you was wrong. It never should have happened. That absolutely was not okay. I'm going to always validate the person's experience. And then once they're validated or they feel validated, I'm going to say, is this what you want to teach the next generation? Because if it doesn't end with you who now knows, it will never end. And we're just doing generation after generation of the same hurt.
And it has to stop. I had to make a conscious choice as a child to stop the generational curse that was going through our family. And a lot of times, when you see that, this is why there's a song here called Go With a Child's Heart. I can't remember who made it, from a long time ago, and face the worries of the day. And when you think about it, a child has no worries. Children have no filter. They say what they mean. They mean what they say. They speak up when they see injustice. They'll ask you in a minute, Mommy, why she got that big knot on her forehead? Then you got to stop and explain to them that's a tumor, or she just got a big knot on her forehead, or whatever the case is. Children don't have, and along the way, we lose that as adults. And because in your book you talk about us as we grow up, we start to adapt. I always say the children come perfect, and then adults just screw them up. Just take the whole canvas and just throw all kind of crap on it. And then say, oh, that's a beautiful painting. They'll deal with it. Hang it up on the wall. And some of us, even as a little kid, I was always the odd person out because I would speak up. Maybe that's why I'm a talk show host, because I would speak up and I would speak out, and I wanted to just answer me the question, well, why do we have to do it that way? Well, how come we can't do it? And you stay in a child's place, and I always say, but I am in my place. Oh, yeah, I got slapped in the mouth a lot when I was growing up, but I still spoke up. Why do you think so many people get to a point in their life that they stop speaking up and they stop trusting themselves?
It depends on how much we learn the lesson. So I'm really interested to hear that you stayed the course, because that's what I did. Even when I was told to tone it down, to fit in, to have the regular life, I was never defining myself that way. And I think that's something I'm really grateful I had within me. And it sounds like you had it within you.
Oh, my life, I was told,
wonderful.
Be quiet, stay in a child's place. Women don't say that. You can't do that. You can't go. I'm like, what do you mean I can't do that? My mother used to say, baby, there's nothing standing in your way but air and opportunity.
Well, that sounds
so there
an
was
amazing message. That's an amazing message to have received.
Air and opportunity. She said, if you could see it, you could be it. If you could be it, you can do it.
Well, that's fantastic.
It was beautiful. She was crazy as a Betsy bug. God rest her soul. But you got 6 kids. You know, you'd be kind of crazy too. And teenagers, my mother carried a loaded .38 when we were teenagers, because she said, y'all too big for me to whoop. I had to pop a cap in one of y'all. Y'all too big. And then she said, if I shoot one of y'all, I'm gonna shoot all of y'all. They're gonna give me the same amount of time in the mental institution. They're gonna say she went crazy. She had all them teenagers. She would have us rolling on the floor. Oh my God. And we were allowed to speak up. Now, you couldn't be disrespectful. We were allowed to speak up. We were allowed to say how we felt. I remember my brother, some girl broke her heart, and he came home, and he was trying to man up, right? And he was trying to... And she came, when she saw him, she said, baby, what's the matter? He told her about his girlfriend. And he said, I know he's supposed to cry. She said, who told you that lie? She said, that hurt, baby. Get that out, because that'll fester in you. And he cried for 2 days.
That's so beautiful. What a wonderful gift.
For 2 days, he was 15 years old. I can't believe I just told you that story. Oh, my God, they would be rolling over in their grave.
That's a beautiful thing, that she had that. That's not how it is for people. That's so wonderful that she gave him that. That is so
sad, though. And that's why this book, The Ultimate You, this is probably going to be your best one ever. Not all the other ones are great. This one is going to be greater. You are so on point. And I just want to say, woman to woman, soul to soul, spirit to spirit, thank you for being willing to rip the bandages off of the push down, stuff down emotions that you had to allow us. When I say us, I'm in that group too. Because when I got to the back, I was like, oh, she just done kept on going with this one. Oh, put the book down, honey. Put the book down. I mean, because it's so real and it's so raw, and you tap into human emotion. Tell me, share with us where that strength came from you balled up on the bathroom shower floor to getting up and saying, all right, Sharon.
Wow. So I wish I could say, no, I don't. It would be easy to say it happened really quickly, so it did these 3 things. That's not how it's been for me. It's been a messy quest to me. So I got off the floor, dried myself off, got through the crisis, and reflected. So I think really getting aware of how I showed up in that was more important than getting aware of how others might have tried to hurt me. So I stopped trying to blame, and I stopped trying to externalize, and I stopped trying to justify myself. And it wasn't about he said or she said anymore. It wasn't about them and us. Sharon, how did you show up in that? And how did you feel as you showed up in that? And what did you feel you needed to suppress in that? And where did you hide in that? And where were you not authentically yourself in that? And that became my journey. So how come you felt you had to hide yourself? How come you couldn't be all of you? And that journey, and I'm not articulating it as well as I wish I had it as a journey, but it was a feeling of, if I don't get self-aware and face me in this, I will always be the victim of haters. I'll always be the victim of the external. I'll always be at the behest of how others see me. And I just thought, I can't live that way. I've got to live according to me and my compass and my true north. So that's how I got up, when I realized, if you're really aware right now, not of them, not of how angry you are, not how hurt you are, not how bitter I am, but if I can be aware of me in this, I will find a way to reclaim me. So the whole journey was not a journey of learning how to change me. It's not a journey, as you know from reading the book. I didn't change me. It wasn't about me developing a new person. People say, but I don't want to change. I didn't change. I just reclaimed what I had suppressed because I'd been told over the years being all of me wasn't okay. In the reclamation, I needed to heal. And that's when I realized the hurt that I'd felt during this period, this is back in 2003, that the hurt I'd felt during that period wasn't because of the haters or what was going on. It was because of my conditioning about how I have to be a hero, how I have to have it together, how I have to have the answers, how I have to be capable and not need help. And I got to say, that time I needed help. So there was nothing in me that could handle asking for help without feeling like a failure, because I had to be the hero.
Let's talk about that. Can we talk about that too? Because you talk a lot about and share a lot about getting in touch with feelings, and we're talking about all the feelings. You talked about bitterness. You talked about anger, hatred, despair, disappointment, failure, and all these things, anxiety. And 99% of us want to say, I don't want to deal with that. Because if I sit in this, and I say this all the time, and when I read it in your book, I was like, that's my kindred spirit. That's my sister. I know that's my sister. I always say, sit in it. Sit in it, be with it, smell it, let it get up under your fingernails. So when you get that crap off of you, you don't have to deal with it like that anymore. And everybody would say, oh, that's just too hard. If it were easy, everybody could do it. If it were easy, nobody would need Sharon's book, The Ultimate You. If it were easy, we would be in touch with ourselves from when we became adults and realized that our big people did what they could do. Talk to us about how important it is and what you found on your journey of sitting in all of these different emotions.
I never had been encouraged growing up to feel my emotions to completion. And I think I speak on behalf of probably 99% of people. I was never encouraged to experience anger or disappointment. I was never allowed to express anger at my parents. That was discouraged. How dare you speak to me like that? If you're going to use that tone, young lady, you go to your room. If you don't get to talk like that to your father. Wait until your father. And in the moment, it controlled. But in the long term, it suppressed those aspects of me, those emotions within me. So I complied. I stopped talking like that in the moment. I went to my room. I knocked it off. I did the thing that was asked of me. But in doing so, I didn't realize how could I was a child. I was agreeing that me being emotionally me wasn't okay and had to be banished and could be abandoned. So I learned and associated feeling anger or disappointment or sadness directed at somebody who had let me down. I associated that with me being abandoned. So I never, ever expressed my need, because if I expressed my need and that person didn't come through, I'd never be able to express I was disappointed because they would abandon me. So I linked me being supported with abandonment. So for me, this is my journey. I had to learn how to express and emote and claim and name my emotion fully with someone I could trust. That's how I began to reclaim my emotionality. And that's how important it is. We are human beings. We are emotional beings, firstly. We are rational beings, secondly. Nothing will change that no matter how much we suppress our emotionality. And if we want to feel connected to ourselves and self-love, if we want to feel alive, that we're fully living, that we're engaged and we're brave and we're wonderful and we're warm, if we want all of that, then we have to face the crappy emotions as well, fully. We have to embrace our anger. We have to embrace our sadness. We have to embrace whatever it is that's been suppressed, denied, ignored, or judged. We need to embrace all of it to have the good stuff.
And the first thing I believe that you have to do is when you talk to somebody that you trust, that you feel safe with your emotions. For me, that person had to be me first. I had to learn to trust myself with my emotions. I had to learn to say, okay, it's all right that you pissed off at them. It's all right that you pissed off at yourself. Now, sit with this, and trust your instinct. Your mother used to tell you, my mother used to tell me, trust your instinct. When you feel that in your gut, in your solar plexus, that's your gut telling you what's right from wrong. That's the emotion that you deal with, and that's the one that you trust. And because she instilled that in me from a young girl to trust that feeling, when one of our relatives was going through the family sexually assaulting all the little girls, and I spoke up, and he went to court. The judge told him, you go to court, or you go to jail, or you go to the military. And they turned their back on me. My mother took me, and she said, baby, you did the right thing. Don't you ever, I don't care who it is, don't you ever, ever think that this was your fault. You know what that empowered me as a little girl, as a 9-year-old little girl?
That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And
she would say, as long as you speak the truth. No, she said, no, I did not. And I told him, no. And I told him, this is not on me. I said, if I ever catch you with my little sister, that was it. Caught her with my little sister, that was it. That was all he walked out of our house in the handcuffs.
You had to be too brave, too young. That's incredible.
I was
good on you.
And they told me, but the other big people told me to shut up. I should have kept my mouth closed. So I'm combating this because this is part of my, as you said earlier, this is part of my tribe. All the big people in the tribe are supposed to take care of the little people in the tribe, but they don't.
Yeah,
it's like you said earlier, hurting people hurt people. They were hurt.
People.
Come to find out about it.
Can I ask you something about you now? Can I ask you something about you now? Has that played out differently as an adult? Do you feel a sense of rebellion before perhaps other people do? Do you notice that about you?
That I feel rebellious?
Do you have a feeling of rebellion earlier than others? So others might eventually get to, that's not okay. Are you one of the first to feel that sense of no? Do you kick in earlier than others?
In my family, yes. I was an outcast because I spoke up, and I got abandoned. Well, I didn't feel abandoned because I didn't feel, okay, you don't want to be around me? Okay, I'm comfortable with that because I like being around me.
Good on you. That's amazing. Your mother obviously helped you by validating you at a time when many are rejected. It's phenomenal. What a gift.
And
She's
she was
amazing.
like that. She was like that. Our house was like the cool house. Because she taught us about how our bodies work. She taught us about how to take care of ourselves, how to be respectful of our bodies. I mean, she was raw with it. When she told me about sex, I was like, ew, that's nasty. I don't even want to be bothered with no boys. And I discovered boys, and I understood why she told me to stay away from them. I'm like, well, I like that.
I love it.
I know why you told me to stay. And that was important to me. And I was able to break part of that cycle in our family and empower the next generation behind me so my nieces and my nephews would understand what a sexual predator looks like and what they sound like and how they say things to you. And you got to stand up for yourself. And if they say something to you, you come and get me. Before my mother died, you come tell my mother. And they would come. She was the favorite aunt because she spoke the truth and she allowed us to speak the truth. And because she empowered, I had 3 sisters and 2 brothers. There were 5 or 6 of us. And I got 1 sister left and myself. And because I was willing to break the cycle, and it was the cycle of all kind of stuff. I was going to get married. I was going to stay married. I got the same husband I had. We celebrate 48 years in a few days. And I knew what I wanted. Thank you. I knew what I wanted, and I was willing to do the work to achieve that in my life. And so I know what it's like when you say people want to shame you, want to tell you what you can do. And like you got a story in there about, girl, this one, I know how you felt. Tell them the story about coming from where you came from to how strong you felt when you were in the doctor's office for an appointment you waited for 2 months to get.
I did. I can still feel that feeling. So what happened was, and it's in the book, there would have been a time I would have had no healthy boundaries around it. I would have just thought, you just got to take it because that's what a doctor's like. So I go in, and this doctor I've spent 2 months waiting to see. It's a 2-hour consultation, 2 hours of deep probing into what's going on with my health and helping with my issues. And I walk in, and she's 40 minutes late. Not because she's with another patient, but because she ran a personal errand. So right there, I felt I felt the boundary violation right there. And I said, that's okay, you're here now. But I could see she was off her game. And I thought, I'm not going to manage her feeling shame, worry, and embarrassment about letting me down, as well as managing what I'm going through. And then she proceeded to act out on her shame because she was so late and began to violate my boundaries again by making fun of my concern, by ridiculing me taking myself seriously. Oh, you're a type A personality, aren't you? Well, actually, no, I'm just somebody who's really concerned. And it just these put downs. And I said, this isn't okay. I have real concerns about my health. And she said, well, so do I. And I said, I know I'm not meant to be concerned about your health issues right now. I know this is meant to be focused on me. What you're doing right now is not okay. And I said, I'm going to leave now because I don't feel comfortable. And I walked out, and it sounds so simple what I'm saying. But for me, to reclaim me and to speak up for me so healthily and to articulate myself like that, I got to the car park and I burst into tears, couldn't hold it together anymore. That was also a breakthrough. I cried instead of stiff upper lip, acting like everything's fine, carrying on with my day. I just bawled my eyes out. I phoned 2 friends who made me laugh once they'd validated me. I processed how I felt, the grief and the feeling of being judged, and I felt amazing and I felt empowered. Now, I know 10 years before that, I would have felt angry, uptight, judgmental, resentful. I would have held on to it, and I probably wouldn't have ever shared it with anyone because you never share what's wrong. And I see the contrast in me. And I'm like, good on me.
From 10 years ago, from the time that happened to where you are now, in your back then self, with your back then self, would have stayed at the doctor's office and just bucked it up?
Yeah, I think 10 years ago I would have stayed and thought, you know what, they don't have to be perfect. You know, maybe I don't deserve the best. My gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I can't believe. Wait a minute. I can't believe you. Wait a minute.
Know.
So wait a minute. So many people will rationalize the fact that they don't deserve to have the best. I remember when they diagnosed me with type 2 diabetes. because it runs in my family. And I go to the doctors, and I find out all the stuff. I knew about it because my sister had type 1 diabetes, God rest her soul. And so I knew a lot about it. And I think that my first doctors were like a little pissed off that I knew a lot about it. And they're like, well, you're just coming out. I said, listen, I know this body better than you will ever know this body. So let's just make this, sit down, and this is how we're going to work with this. This is my body. You'll be, I'm the captain of this ship. You're coming in as a first mate. We will do this together. I had a doctor tell me, I don't have patients talk to me like that. And I said, well, you won't have this one either. And I got up and I walked out. I got up and I walked out.
So
I
good.
went through 3 endocrinologists before I got to an endocrinologist when I said I need a team player. And she said, she's from Austria. She a little bitty, teeny, tiny thing, about big as a glass. Scared the bejesus out of me. And that's what I needed. I needed somebody to be on the team that was going to help me hold my feet to the fire to make me accountable because I didn't know everything.
That's beautiful.
And
well
I'm
done.
I'm proactive. That's what, excuse me. You got to have boundaries. And so many people will say, see, my no mean no, my yes mean yes. You can't talk me into it after I tell you no. Well, think about it. No, I ain't got to think about it. I don't need to think about it. I saw my husband getting off the elevator in college, and I told my girlfriends, that's my husband, that's the father of my children, and I'm going to die with that man. And they all looked at me like I grew a third eye in the middle of my forehead. and we've been together ever since. Because when you know, you know.
I love it.
And because
well,
I grew up like that. And you got to have boundaries.
You know.
I knew.
But I think
we got to have
boundaries.
What, in your experience, what were some of the most difficult transitions for you to hold, to embrace, and to change?
To be vulnerable. It's so easy for me to say that. To be vulnerable. To walk out of that doctor's surgery and to cry and need a friend to support me because of the disappointment, because my health issue was serious and it meant so much to me, and to be so let down, profoundly betrayed. To be okay with expressing that takes vulnerability. And to be vulnerable means you've got to feel safe. And to feel safe means you've got to have emotional intimacy. And to have emotional intimacy, there's a journey to be had. And to do that was just joy for me. I look back now and it just seems so easy. Of course, I'd express myself the same as you do. But people need to learn this. For me, it was learning how to be vulnerable with myself and with others. And it's such a gift, and it needs to be taught. And as you know in the book, literally teach. This is the first thing you do. We talk about emotional reactivity and tension tagging and how we avoid intimacy and how we distance ourselves.
Okay, you gotta talk about this one, girl, because this one, I'm telling you, I was like, why is she all up in my grill like this? Let's talk about enmeshment. Enmeshment in your tribe. Tell people what that means, how serious that is, because everything in the book, it just makes so much sense. When you talk about the boundaries, I'm like, I'm not crazy. Well, if I'm crazy, Sharon crazy too, but you got to be a little crazy.
Yep.
You got people think that. It's not about being crazy. It's about trusting who you are. But let's talk about the enmeshment from our big people and why you call them the big people.
Well, I love calling them the big people. They're the magical big people. They're whoever impacted us when we were children. So it could have been elder brother and sisters. It could be foster parents, teachers, people from the clergy. It could be our parents, uncles, whoever, aunts, whoever impacted us and who we sought their perspective and their approval. So who was the person who you sought the approval of will probably intended to have shaped you the most. Now, enmeshment, and that can be healthy and fantastic, and it sounds like a lot of your experiences were very functional and healthy and developed the very best of you, the important aspects of you, healthy boundaries, emotionality, knowing what your needs are. Many people don't have that. What they have instead is enmeshment. And enmeshment is your feelings and my feelings and my feelings and yours. I don't know where you end and I begin, and you don't know where I end and you begin. And if you feel it, the whole family should feel it. And if someone says it, the whole family needs to. It's like a mobile. You know the child's mobiles over their cribs. You move one
mm-hmm.
piece, and you move one piece, and all of it starts moving. That's enmeshment. It's when the entire family system gets caught up. For example, I know someone, if they're having a bad day, the whole family has to have a bad day. And if they're not in the mood to talk, no one gets to talk. And if they're feeling like they're angry with someone, everybody has to be angry. That's enmeshment. Enmeshment is where I would get caught up in your doings, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, your perspectives, as if they should matter to me more than my feelings, thoughts, and perspectives should matter to me, instead of recognize them as equal. That's enmeshment. Now, the flip side is differentiation, which is the whole point. Differentiation is where your thoughts and feelings are yours, mine are mine, and we are very comfortable with each other having them be different. And we can have a conversation about that. And if you did something that upset me in a differentiated, healthy relationship, I'd be able to say to you, you know what, it really upset me when you let me down.
Mm-hmm.
And your enmeshment would be judgment, shaming me, defensiveness, protectiveness, blocking it. Differentiation would be, I am so glad you're telling me. I didn't know. Tell me what happened so I can know. And then I'd be able to share with you my hurt. And then you'd continue being differentiated by saying, I am so sorry that happened. I'm so sorry I did that. I didn't know. I wasn't aware. I am now aware. Can we please talk about how to do this differently moving forward? That's a differentiated, healthy, unenmeshed conversation. The enmeshed conversation is, how dare you? You know I didn't mean it. You always make such a big deal about things.
You too sensitive. You overreacted.
Exactly.
You need to calm down. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. You know. See, I would get that, and they would say, "You got ice water running through your veins. You don't care about anybody else but you." I said, "No, it's not that I don't care about your feelings, but your feelings cannot be more important than mine." And right now, you tripping out because of something some guy said. So I'm not going to be mad at the guy because you mad at the guy. You know, and I remember my mother used to say to us, listen, the one thing we're not going to do is we're not going to walk around here on eggshells. If somebody got something to say, speak up. You're not going to be rude and disrespectful, but this is an open, and then she would also tell us, this is why I was confused, she would always say, inside here, this is a totalitarian dictatorship. You're going to do what I say when I say it, and there's not going to be any question about it. And we were like, okay, she got a loaded 38 in her pocketbook. I used to have this little little plaque in my college dorm room. And my mother came down to visit me one time, and she said, oh, I'm taking that home. I'm like, Mama, why are you taking that? She said, I'm putting that in my front door. It said, it's a beautiful day. Now watch some bastard louse it up. She started every day positive, and she would say, every day is a gift. This is a present. Don't mess up the present. You can do nothing about yesterday. We did the best we could with what we had. Don't let yesterday's circumstances determine what your present is going to be. And that stuck with me as a kid.
That's a lot. That's amazing. But what she also did, there's more than that, because what she also did was let you feel what you needed to feel when you felt it. So you didn't come into adulthood feeling ashamed around emotions. That's not normal. The human beings generally don't have that gift. Generally, we have to work on reclaiming feeling an emotion without feeling shame. So she gave you a phenomenal gift, and you accepted it, which is amazing.
I did, because a lot of people, I got a hairball. A lot of people reject that, because when you talk like that, then you have to look within. And the one thing, one of the many things I respected about my mother was she was comfortable in her own skin. She was comfortable as a black woman. She was comfortable, and my mother didn't. You know how some people change jobs? My mother changed professions. I'm going to be a nurse, so she went to be a nurse. I'm going to be a school teacher, and then she came to teach at my school. I was like, please, God, just let me die. Why is she in my junior high school? And then she wanted to be an office manager. Then she became a master social worker. That was the last position she had, and she worked with abused and neglected children. And to see these kids as adults when I go back to my hometown and they tell me the difference that my mother made in their life because she saw something greater in them. She saw something special in them. And I come from a family of social workers, so we, this is what we do. And they go in, and like she used to say, we can't fix everybody. The first person you got to fix is you. If something is broken, start with you. Look at your face. Look in that mirror.
I agree with what you're saying. It's just most people don't know what to look within. So this is what's going to be. So this is what's so great about this book. This is what's so great about this book. I'm just so pleased and honored. And one of the things that you talk about, the many things that you talk about, and I love how you share stories with other people who have gone on the journey. That it's not just you have been compassionate and loving enough to share other people's stories, so people will know you're not going through this by yourself. You're not. I think shame loves shadows. And I think so many people
I'm walking with that one. I'm walking with that one. Wait a minute. Say that again. Yeah. Say that again.
Shame loves shadows. And so if we feel shame around an emotion, or we think we're not enough, or we think somehow we're not worthy, that is going to be linked to shame. And we're going to hide it thinking we're the only one who feels this. This whole book is just shining the light on it so that people know you're not alone. This is the human experience. This is how it is, and you're okay feeling this. That is absolutely needing to be validated, embraced, acknowledged, and normalized. It is normal to feel that. Then what should we do about it now? But in the beginning, to get rid of the shame, to chase the shame out of the shadows, normalize your experience. Accept it as part of the human condition. You begin to heal when you realize you're not different. You're not the freak. You're not alone. You're not the exception. You don't have to hide this. The moment you can put the spotlight on it and feel okay, you're going to be okay.
You will be okay. And it takes a lot of when I start speaking, truth to power, and not being, you don't have to be rude and disrespectful. I would speak truth to power. And like my mother would say, baby, as long as you're telling the truth, you won't ever have to worry about looking over your shoulder. And speaking that truth to power, a lot of people that were in my tribe felt threatened by that and would say to me, you can't speak up like that. You can't talk to people like that, And I it wasn't so much that I lost the relationships. I felt like they were going to lose out on my awesomeness. And then I felt like they were going to lose out on my awesomeness. And then when I got famous and they started seeing me on TV and in the movies, then it was like, oh, girl, forget all about that. And I said, I'm not going to forget about it. That was a life lesson. I bought that lesson. And I know that I'm not going to be around a toxic person like you. I had an auntie that used to call me out of my name, and I just got fed up with it. I mean, she just called me just a sack of them. And I was like, she was like, well, you my niece. I could talk to you any kind of way. I said, no, you can't. No, you cannot. You will. This is my name. And either you call me by my name or you don't speak to me. Or I'll call you whatever I want. She thought I was playing.
This is phenomenal.
How come you don't come at my house? How come you don't show up at my house? How come you don't come? I'm not coming into your house. I left my family when I was 17 years old because of the toxicity. And I was watching it fester. And I was watching people, they were starting to listen to the white noise outside and other people telling them what they should do and how they should be. And, I came from a family of big people, big fat people. And they're telling, trying to fat shame us. And I was like, I ain't going to be fat shamed. They like all this. And maybe you got a problem, and I would watch how they would hurt some of the young girls in the family. You need to go on a diet. Oh, you going to eat that again? But they don't give them any healthy choices. They don't say, well, don't eat this cake, or maybe I'll bake you a cake from scratch. They would never do that. They would rather shame them, embarrass them, isolate them, and I wasn't having it. I was not having it.
I really feel for them. I feel for them so much that they're so stuck in their enmeshment.
Yes, and that's what it was. That's what it was. And then when I look back at it, a lot of them are still stuck in that enmeshment.
Wow.
You know,
so I
don't
feel
come
so much
around
compassion for them.
You have to have, and it comes to a point where I got to a point, I wasn't trying to, be better, be smarter. Well, I was smart. I made smarter choices. But I never thought of myself as being better than anybody. I do make smarter choices, and I make some stupid choices. I did some bonehead stuff, don't get me wrong. I done got kicked down, tore up from the floor up. I still get up. And so many people will not just say, okay, that happened to me. What do I do? What you said, what do you do with it now? But I wanted you to talk about this enmeshment because people just don't even know that they can upset the apple cart.
People don't know they're enmeshed. Most people don't know.
I don't know what's worse.
Cycle.
Wait a minute, what's worse? I think what's being worse is not being aware.
Yep. I think being aware and not doing anything about it's worse. I think to not know and then to discover is all possibility. But to know it and not act on it for our own, to become our best selves, that hurts. Because I don't want to, on my last dying breath, realize the person I could have been simply for the sake of making a choice. So I'm living my life knowing on my last breath, I will meet the person I was meant to be, and she will be me. I want that moment. That's what I'm going for. And I don't ever want to be aware and have ignored it or acted like I can kick it down the road or that it doesn't matter or that I don't matter. That's why this to me matters so much, because I'm going to reach a point where I won't have all the choices I have now. I won't be able to do something about it, and all I'll be left with is the regret for the things I didn't do, didn't claim, and didn't heal. So I'm going for it. That's my attitude. It sounds like that's yours as well.
Oh, that's been. I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off. I'm not. I don't want to be a good-looking corpse. I don't even want to have a funeral. I just want to be sitting there and just go to dust. And they said, "Well, what happened to Mother Love?" She just disintegrated. She just poof and was gone. I didn't think I didn't think that I would live this long. I'm 65 3/4, and I didn't think I would live this long because people in my family died very early. My father was 31, my brother 39, a sister 51, one at 53.
Wow.
My mother was 2 months shy for her 60th birthday. I was the first person in my immediate family to make it to 60, and I was like, Lord, you know what you done did, right? You know. He was like, oh, daughter, I got so much work for you to do. I got people that you haven't even met yet that you're going to need to meet, and you are one of them.
Oh, wow.
And you are one of the people I am supposed to talk to. You're one of the people I was supposed to know. You're one of the people that I was supposed to read your books. You're one of the people that I'm going to say, Sharon, girl, whatever you're doing, whatever you're promoting, the mother, as long as I got a radio program and I got breath in me or a television program, I got your back.
Thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
Oh, you are somebody to support because you have been willing to just rip this up and let myself and, to continue to validate those of us who have awakened, those of us who want to be awakened. Because a lot of people, I told you my girlfriend, she got to maybe I think the third, she got maybe to the, maybe the third gift, and she said, I am not ready for this. I am not ready for the, and I love the way that you put the titles in. Your first, your second, your third, your fourth. These are gifts to yourself.
I'm not
tell
telling
people this
anybody
if you don't love you, it's going to be hard pressed for anybody else to love you.
Or to believe that they love us, or to believe that we're worthy of being lovable. How can we begin that if we don't know how to begin it with ourselves? And then how do we begin it with ourselves? So many people tell me they don't know how to look within. I hope this book gives people the hope, the encouragement, and the pathway. This is how you look within, and this is how you can start loving what you find. That's what this book is about.
And it's real, and I love the simplicity. I love the humor. Oh, wait a minute, she get raw, people. She gets raw, not vulgar, but she get raw. And I so appreciate that, and I appreciate the step-by-step, the way that you break it down in the simple terms. And what I've discovered is, well, as a talk show host, I'm going to read the book from cover to cover. But then this is I told you, girl, if you saw my book, the book don't even go down anymore. The pages are all chewed up. It's got pink and yellow marks in it. You know, I was like, it got fingerprints all over it. I got food stains. I got to go wipe it off. I'm glad I'm scraping stuff off of it right now. I take it with me everywhere because it's a reading book, but it's not a book that you like finish reading, if that makes sense. Because you read it and then you can go back to it. You can go back to it and you can say, oh, because the lessons that you teach, and I can't wait. When are you coming back to America? When are you coming to L.A.?
I'm in L.A. right now. I'm at the Beverly Hills looking out over the pool, chatting with you.
How long are you going to be here? Because they told me you weren't going to be here.
I'm in L.A. right now, and I leave Monday or Tuesday, I think. We're heading to London next.
Oh, I just want to see your face. And I don't usually say that, and especially over the air. But it's something about you. We just need to make a human connection because this is really something. And I'm so honored to have you on the program. And so, because I wanted to come to the event, I really do. I was so crushed, but nonetheless, I have this, and I can go to it. And another thing I wanted to know is at the end of the chapters, which I'm honest, I have not done the resources for your journey. You have a companion worksheet. Let's talk about how people can get involved in your coaching, what they need to do, how they can get in touch with you, how they get a copy of your book. I can't believe we're almost out of time.
It flew by. Thank you for having me. So we can get the book at Barnes & Noble are supporting us beautifully. Every bookstore is supporting us, which is wonderful. Of course, Amazon, but I love supporting local bookstores. I'm delivering a talk in LA. I'm going to be in London next weekend. I'm not sure of the date of the release of this. And then I'm going to be in Singapore, Auckland, Sydney, Melbourne. But get in touch with us at thecoachinginstitute.com.au. And just say, Can True Mother Love, inspired by the message, and we will hook you up with some fantastic resources to get you started on this most essential quest.
Now that you continue on this quest, where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years?
I'm looking forward to going deeper and not faster. People keep saying, what's the next level for you, Sharon? I keep saying it's not another level up. It's another level within. I'm really loving unpacking me and who I am when I'm fully me and how I express that. My world changes, my goals change, what I'm capable of achieving is taking care of itself the more I take care of the inner journey. So it's less goal setting, interestingly, and more achieving because of this inner journey that I'm taking care of. I
love the way you said that. It's less goal setting. It is. Because once you set the goal and you met the goal, then what? I tell them all the time, I am on a quest.
I am. I'm on a quest to me. And how I express that right now is with you, and how I express that on the weekends at the event. It's expressing me fully so it enables others to express themselves fully in this experience. So now
where's your event, and is it open to the public?
Yeah, I think the event's at the Marriott down at Santa Monica Pier this weekend. Okay. And then next weekend's at London. But if you go online and type Sharon Pearson World Tour, the Coaching Institute, we'll hook you up. We'll take care of you and come along as our guest.
It will be my absolute pleasure. It has just been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. May the universe continue to open up and conspire for your great success. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you this weekend. I'm going to find out where you are.
Thank you for having me.
And we got to thank the Blaine Group. Oh, my God. Donna Reed at the Blaine Group. She's been awesome getting you on. Thank you so much. And, babies, you know I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about this mother loving you.
you didn't know before, now you know. This the Mother Love Show, this the Mother Love Show. If you didn't know before, now you know. This the Mother Love Show, this the Mother Love Show. The Nefertiti of the needy, the defender of the tender worldwide.